Good morning. We are live here on my YouTube feed.
First time.
It is first time I'm going live. This is very exciting for me.
Momentous.
Thank you to everybody who's been subscribing and who's been watching to help me get to this point where I can go live. Today, Ellie, what's today's date, Ellie?
14th of Feb.
Today is February 14th, but more importantly, it is Hey Adar Aleph.
Love focus.
Hey Adar Aleph, and today's podcast is One Love, One Love, One War, One War.
Let's get together and feel alright.
Let's get together and
One love
and feel all right.
One war. I'm gonna explain that one war part because that's okay. Remember, One Live is trending right now. One Love.
Yes,
we're live, but One Love is trending in Eretz Yisrael because we're with the Just One Chesed. Look, I'm finally rocking.
You are. Just One Chesed. Meals for Heroes.
Cap's coming soon.
Manot LaGiborim B'ezrat Hashem.
Yes. Feed those soldiers.
Just
included.
Just as an FYI, if you guys wanna sponsor a day of feeding soldiers or just sponsor meals, justonechesed.com. Go to Project Give Back. It's Aid for Israel. And there are 3 different restaurants. There's Hummus Eliyahu, there's Pizzeria Efrat, and Katzefet, where you guys can help us sponsor meals. We provide about 45 to 50 meals a day. It's a lot of stuff. Baruch Hashem. Okay, One Love, One War, baby.
So we're
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nihiya bidvaro.
Amen. We're going to sing as a Jewish song before we get into any Bob. We're going to sing Misha, Misha, Misha Niknasada.
Marbim, Marbim, Marbim Besimcha. I thought we were going to do the other one.
Go on then. Misha, Misha, Misha.
Misha, 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 Misha Nichnas Adar. Misha, 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 Misha Nichnas Adar. Misha Nichnas Adar. Marbim Besimcha. Misha Nichnas Adar. Marbim Besimcha. Venavo, 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 venavo. Asher yishletu haYehudim heima v'sonehem. Asher yishletu haYehudim heima v'sonehem. Misha, 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 Misha nichnas adar. Misha, 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 Misha nichnas adar. Misha nichnas adar marbim besimcha. Misha nichnas adar marbim besimcha.
Very nice. Okay. So what's this One Love, One War theme?
I don't know, Ellie. You tell me. It was your idea.
Okay, so the Real Kindness podcast is about being real, and there's no bigger kindness than clarifying and giving emes, because everything then afterwards goes in that way. So all the chesed you're doing, all the projects you're involved in, if you've got a clear, focused, like Rav Shlomo is talking about in our Tikkun Medina Shiurim, and also there Shabbat Shiurim, and Shirat David, Rav Shlomo Katz, we're constantly focusing, being everything, all the emotions, all the ideas back into the Torah, Mechadish Torah, renew the Torah, Lev Torah, like the idea of Am Chadash, Lev Chadash, Ruach Chadash, all the different aspects that we need to renew.
Oh, the 5 aspects that we're talking about
today.
Via Rav Yitzchak Ginsburg.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, what a shir. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chai, Yechida, these 5 levels. So we have to renew. And the tachlis is being Mashiachis, coming for the Mashiach ideal and messianic ideal. This is something which One Love is all about. When Bob wrote those original songs, and that was his ideal in his way, with his understanding and his soul, whoever that was. And I know these things. What I do know is that for me personally as a Jew, part of my journey into Yiddishkeit because I needed someone like a Bob Marley to sing about Exodus, to get me to movements of God's people, to get me to back to Eretz Yisrael, back to the real promised land, Eretz Yisrael. Or for example, all the different songs, get up, daven, give out Torah light, all these kind of that was the only way I was going to get into the Yiddishkeit was going to be through that kind of path of
instead of being Weird Al Yankovic, you're Weird Al Elevich.
Yeah, the Bob in me. Yeah, I needed to get into that aspect of spiritualization of music and revolution that's in the music. Shlomo said to me Shabbos Day, I think you were there, after the Suda we had together, he said, Rebelli is Osius rebel. So there is a certain rebellious side to me that I needed someone like a Bob out there who was revolutionizing the music world to come to a more spiritual, divine place. And obviously, once again we have to bring it back into the Torah, because he's saying One Love, and that's the name of the movie that's coming out. So I think it's coming out tomorrow, One Love globally, and it's obviously timed with the 14th of February, I assume, with Valentine's and everything else that's going on in the world. But the idea is, as Ziggy Marley said, is to bring more unity to the world. But as a Jewish people, we have to know that, and that Ziggy's Bob's son, just in case people didn't know, he was one of the big parts of that film. But the idea of one war is that we are consistently in a situation of one war as well, not just one love, we're not just one soul, we're not just united souls. Remember, we're
talking about one war, like our individual wars that we're fighting within ourselves.
We're always in a state of war till Mashiach comes, till the messianic, fulfillment. That we have a war consistently in every generation. Instead of saying all the time they and all these conspiracy theories, getting all caught up with who's doing this and who's manipulating history and all the wars and what happened with the corona, everything else that's been going on the last however many years. And even right now, people are saying that this war with Hamas is being manipulated this way, that way, and the world opinion. It's all one war for us as the Jewish people. We're always fighting what's called the evil inclination, the Yetzer Hara within, and it manifests outside of us as people who are against us. And our message was always one soul, one love of truth, one truth. And that's the aspect we have to bring in, the one emes.
So I look at it as one war in the sense that we're just fighting the one war for the entire world.
Yeah, we are.
Right? So at the end of the day, Hamas is not just in Gaza.
Yeah, that's why I keep telling people outside of Israel.
They're everywhere.
And if they're not, if my son right now, Baruch Ben Mash, and all the other soldiers are not taking care of these terrorists, they will be in London, God forbid. They will be in New York. They'll be in all the major cities in the world. So it's literally,
if they're not already there,
need to be stopped at its source.
But I think the one love part is very interesting as well, because it is about unity, and we need to be unified within ourselves, with ourselves first. We need to be shalem. We need to be whole with ourselves in order to be able to unify with our fellow people, right? So at the end of the day, there's a lot of reflection that needs to happen. I'm not sure who says it, but I know, I think I'm pretty sure it's in Chassidut, but if you see something wrong within somebody else, that same thing is something wrong within yourself.
It's just to emphasize it, because it is based on a Gemara, I think in Baba Metzia, where someone was looking into a river and it says, like the water reflects the person.
I thought it was, he saw somebody said, "Oh my God, you're so ugly." Wasn't that
also another Gemara? Yeah, there's another Chazal where we'll tell that to my creator, and it was actually an Novi who appeared to one of the Tanaim. But the point is that when we come back to the Chassidus, what it does is it makes a big dagish on this, because the Baal Shem Tov was Megala how everything is divine providence and everything has a flow, and it's not just whatever. So when you encounter someone who's challenging you and giving you a difficulty, you realize it's all from Hashem, and it's all about growing. It's all about us, as you were saying, developing that inner voice, that inner truth, and working on your inner self rather than making the external the main reality.
And I think that's what we're talking about right now, the Tikkun Hamdina Shir, right?
Sure.
It's seeing the light even within the darkness. Right? It's extracting the light from the darkness and bringing the light out even further. Right? So you're in a conversation with an individual, and there's got to be something about that individual that you see, that there's a nikudat tova, that there's a good point in that person. So extract that from the individual and bring that out into the world instead of the negativity.
Right.
And it goes back to what we spoke about. I don't know if it was the last class or the last podcast or the two podcasts ago, are really just giving people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Right? Being dan lekav zchut really leads to all those things. So if you go about and you write in your journal what you're grateful for, what you're thankful for, and you're looking at people and you find the good point within the person, it'll make it easier to extract the light and having that one love that we need as a world right now, not just within the Jewish people, which is a given. We need to have that unity because when we're unified, we're unbreakable, right? But as a people, there needs to be a way for us to be able to accept each other's differences and still love and respect each other.
Right.
And I think the only way we're able to do that is by extracting the light from the darkness and giving people the benefit of the doubt as well.
Yeah, so that benefit of the doubt is easier said than done, because I know recently, just now, my son's coming back, please God, from intense service. It's the second time, hopefully 48 hours will be given to him since the war began 4 months ago. And, he's in a bit of a state, like physically, he'll need a lot of treatment, and we'll hopefully we had a sponsor ready to help with that. Either way, we're going to do it. Make sure he gets all the pedicures and massage and everything else, and the water access, so he can just cleanse himself, heal himself a little bit before we have the Shabbat together here. We hope it will be this week. We don't know for sure. With the army, you never know for sure. You just got to keep, preparing for that time when he is home, and that's what my wife's doing now, and myself. And one of the things that broke my heart very much is when I was in London, I tried to communicate a little bit what we're talking about on this podcast and generate that feeling of wanting to support more the Israel cause of the Jewish people and our situation right now, especially from our own people, at least, that it should come from within, the kindness. And you've seen so much kindness, and I didn't get that feeling like they were. I felt they were supportive, but it wasn't going to go to the next level in any action or any follow-up. It was just at the time, and I felt like now my son's coming out suddenly, after the phone call and hearing what he's up to in Khan Yunis and how much intense situations are going on, and you saw me the next day how emotional I was.
Yes.
I communicated to the people there, and I was trying to not be overly emotional, but at the same time I wanted to be real. My heart's broken because for example, we needed a GoPro. He doesn't have one for his helmet. It's very important. He's holding a camera that my son gave him. It's not really for combat, and so I asked if the people around who can help sponsor. It's not a cheap thing, and thank God, by today, it's all taken care of and the money's been given, and the GoPro's on its way. But initially, I felt like I needed to just sort of not lash out, but at least be real with how I'm feeling.
So there is that balance, there's that fine line of
I have to communicate what I was going through.
You have to communicate.
Even though I still spent the night afterwards, then a very loving conversation with everyone. Back to the one love focus, and we all
but it needs to be communicated,
talking nicely.
But it needs to be communicated in a one love way, because if you're lashing out, it'll just go in one ear and out the other. That, I'm speaking to myself because I'm that way as well. So it's one of those things that the only way that we're going to really be able to reach out to people.
This is what Shlomo was talking to.
Yeah, it's gotta be out of love.
The way to do it,
out of love, and because if you're lashing out. But if you're lashing out, it comes from a place of haughtiness and ga'ava.
Yeah.
Right? But we're looking for the ga'ava of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu's ga'ava is all about love for one another. Right? So that's what? The one love. That's what we're talking about. One love. One war. One love. And at the end of the day, I feel like if we do it in that manner, right? It's gotta come from Ava. Especially, am I wrong for saying this, amongst each other? But we have to be able to find the Nikudat Tovah, even if they say no. And I'm in fundraising. I'm heading to the States, B'ezrat Hashem, in a couple of weeks to raise funds for Just One Chesed, Meals for Heroes. And at the end of the day, I don't know what people are going through. I don't know how much money these people already gave for this war or whatever it may be. It's not my place to be able to judge them whether they're giving or not giving. People are asking me, what's your goal to raise? As much as I can.
Sure.
Because, how much is it? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I want you to give whatever you feel comfortable giving with love and happiness. Because if it's coming from a place like, here, fine, I'll write you a check, there's not going to be any bracha in that money. So at the end of the day...
Thank God, when I sent this message, so some of the PayPal donations, one of them wrote, for example, love. They literally just gave it with love. That was it.
That's beautiful.
Another one wrote a whole beautiful message, as well as sending to being very generous, and it makes a difference. I'm not trying to be a fundraiser, but once in a while I know that the soldier situation, like, it does require extra outside support. The army has a limit of how much they can do, and organizations like Just One Chesed have very specific roles of what they do. So sometimes it's going to be an individual like myself. It's going to say, look, my son's missing something, and people, thank God, they filled that space. But it was, like you say, the man shema ba'ahava. So even though we're in a war, but it's a war that's sourced in love for truth, love for
Torah,
love for Eretz Yisrael,
for Emet, for the Torah. Yes.
So we're not a nation who, God forbid, like my wife was saying last night to my family, that we're not the nation just going around killing civilians, God forbid. There's so many videos of Israeli soldiers giving food to the Palestinian kids, having Rahmanas when it needs to be, and not killing just outright. You don't want to get into that.
I can't touch that because
okay, fine.
I don't look at that.
Even better, a story that, without getting into that, where when the hostages came back, which we thank Hashem so deeply.
But one of the soldiers gave him his own boots. Did you hear about that?
So that one, we can all.
Yes.
Okay, let's find the stories that unite us, because there are obviously complex and nuances that can divide us. So we have to figure out. But the point is, we're all in this one war together. It's not. This is something which the world needs to hear. One love, one war is that we are a united human soul experience in this world, and there is people who are anti-soul. Anti-Semitism is not just the issue; it's anti-soulism. There are people who hate the fact that there's a soul in human reality, and they were trying to wipe it out.
It's anti-civilization.
They are people working for the other side, and they unfortunately hate any truth, any values, anything that's important to humanity. They hate, and they work against it. And you can see it's right and live in people's faces. That whole wokeism, for example, it's all coming from the anti-soul mindset. Now, we have to be people of soul. And we have to realize we are in a state of war, not just in Eretz Yisrael, not just in Gaza. It's a global phenomenon, and therefore we need to together unite with values and truth and universal love. That we are all together, human people, as well as the Jewish people. I feel the Jewish people have been chosen, literally right now, historically, to be the leaders in this war. It's not like just by chance that there's an obvious war against terror coming from soul. They rape, they murder, they have we have to round off. They don't have principles of soul. If you go into their homes, they have books from people like Hitler, who was completely anti-soul, against the consciousness of humanity. Mein Kampf. They have hatred built into them. And I'm not saying this is all of the people there, but it's definitely a presence in their homes and in their reality.
It might not be all of them, but it's the majority of them.
And my son found
you know why we know that? I gotta say this. You know why we know this?
As shields. So this is anti-soul.
But even the two hostages that were just recently rescued,
the world from that anti-soulism.
Even the two hostages that were just rescued, where were they rescued from? A residential building. Yeah. They were in somebody's house.
Yeah, they're using civilians all the time as shields.
All the
time. We don't need to say more. It's just a reality.
As they say, I'm a vin.
Yeah, we know this in a deep way, and the fact that, once again, this is about love in a truthful way. The one love comes from truth, not just from feelings, not just an emotional thing. We're bringing this into Torah, and this then empowers our chesed, our kindness, our real kindness podcast, because it's real, because it's based on truth. It's not just based on fuzzy feelings of feeling good about yourself because you gave a bit of tzedakah. No, you're giving something that's eternal. You're involved in an eternal war, and the way we're going to win it is through these kind of tools, through kindness, through Torah, through truth, through prayer. A big part of it is the prayer aspect, that we have to keep praying for our soldiers and keep dedicating for all the people to come back safely, all the soldiers, all the hostages, and the world to be open to this truth. We have to keep praying for it. Praying this podcast should be constantly presenting the emes, the truth. And the one love, one soul, one war experience should be understood and clarified. It's not just some hippie movement, but a very true wake-up call for all of us to be more honest with ourselves and more focused.
And B'ezrat Hashem, everything that we said today should be for the refuah shlema for my father-in-law, Levi Ben Liba, B'ezrat Hashem. It should be for a safe return for every single one of our soldiers, B'ezrat Hashem. including obviously Baruch Yitzchak ben Masha.
Yes.
Some people who need a refuah shlema. Malka Yudmila Batadina is not feeling so hot, so refuah shlema to you. I hope Bezat Hashem is going to help me when I get to New York to raise some funds as well. Benayahu ben Chagit, soldier who got into a really bad car accident, Bezat Hashem is out of his coma. He's doing better, Bezat Hashem.
By the way, we still didn't hear enough DMs from you with your chesed projects. That's our...
Yeah, I want to know. We want to know. You got to give us
You're on the spot. We're doing this every week.
Give us some inspiration. What chesed are you guys doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing that's motivating and inspiring other people?
Yeah.
And we'll leave you with that. Bezat Hashem, B'Shem Hashem Nasev Natzliach.
Amen.
And we will see you again, Bezat Hashem, in a week.
Amen. Very excited. Okay, let's go. Let's get up, daven, give out Torah light. Dum, dum, get up, daven.